I know it might be a weird question, but is there any video game you can honestly say changed your life? If you asked me, the answer would be, yeah, there is one. It was summer 2007, I think. My best friend went on holiday to Croatia with his parents, so I was bored to death. While I was reading some gaming magazines, I found a preview of a game called Stalker, Oblivion Lost. The preview promised sophisticated AI, realistic graphics, intense firefights with both mutants and human opponents, and multiple endings. It immediately hyped me for said game. I googled the title and found out the game was renamed to Stalker, Shadow of Chernobyl, and had been released several months earlier. Without wasting any time, I downloaded the pirated version. I was amazed by the atmosphere of the game. Never had I felt so immersed in any video game before. Graphics and gameplay were also great, but it was the atmosphere that kept me playing. There's a chance you never heard of Stalker, but I'm not surprised. Despite achieving almost a cult status in Central and Eastern Europe, it remains relatively obscure in the West, mostly due to being a PC exclusive, as well as tons of bugs and glitches. The game is an open-world FPS, developed by a Ukrainian studio called GSC Gaming World. Stalker is set around Chernobyl nuclear power plant. After a fictional second explosion in the power plant, the surrounding area called the Zone became full of dangerous mutants, deadly anomalies that defy the laws of physics, and mysterious and precious artifacts which drew the attention of illegal treasure hunters called Stalkers. Anyway, I was so impressed by the game that I bought an original copy, even though I've been using only pirated versions before. After the release of the following games from the series, Clear Sky and Call of Pripyat, I bought them immediately. I became interested in paintball and ASG. There are some abandoned buildings in my neighborhood, so I was able to recreate an atmosphere of some gunfights from the game. I started to learn Russian, the language used in the series. I speak it quite fluent right now. Hell, I even went on a tour to Chernobyl. If you want to know, I'm perfectly fine. So yeah, it may sound cheesy. I'm sure that I would be a whole different person if I had never played Stalker. A few months ago, I was digging through one Russian forum for Shadow of Chernobyl mods. I found one topic called Horror of Chernobyl. It was posted only several minutes ago, and no one replied to it yet. The post itself contained only a link to a .torrent file. No description, no screenshots, no list of features. Mysterious mod, I thought to myself. Let's see what secrets it contains. I downloaded it and installed. When I ran the game, everything started as usual. Intro with a truck full of corpses, lightning striking the truck, a stalker carrying the sole survivor, the protagonist called Mark 1 to Trader's bunker, and a message stating, "Kill the s.t.a.l.k.e.r on our PDA. The first tasks also seemed to be unaltered. I began to wonder what, if any, changes had the mod brought, since there was no README file. Gradually, I started to notice some differences. The nights, previously looking more like late evening, were now pitch black. Also, more mutants were spawning after dusk, so leaving camps in the night was an intense experience. Some new side quests were also added, mostly revolving around some creepy places like X Labs, Yontar Factory, or Bloodsucker's Village and Army warehouses. For instance, in one of such missions, the player has to obtain a flash drive from a warehouse in wild territory. There are, however, several dead bodies. After finding a flash drive in a hidden backpack, the corpses come back to life as zombies and attack the player. I was really impressed by the mod creator's idea. It was genuinely creepy, but there was one more thing that was disturbing as hell. It was after several hours of gaming. I was making my way through some open area. I think it was Dark Valley, but I'm not entirely sure. Anyway, I suddenly saw something in the corner of the field of view. It was a ghostly figure, standing on top of a small hill. I faced the direction I saw this mysterious thing, but there was nothing. I went on the hill and carefully scanned the area with binoculars, but without any effect. I thought I must be seeing things, so I ignored it. A few hours later, the situation repeated. We were shaping the corner of an eye, which disappeared after a second. I decided to check on the forum where I found the mod, whether any other player had similar experiences. The thread with the mod was, however, blocked a few minutes after I started downloading the file, without any reply. One of the moderators deleted the download link and added a sarcastic note stating, "Luke used a template," with a link to a thread labeled, "How to post mods properly." Without any help from other forum users, I decided to solve the mystery by myself. I continued to play, as I thought that there must be an explanation to somewhere. I began to explore every inch of the game and do every mission, but I hadn't found anything. I decided to continue with the main storyline. I had to meet a character called Doctor in Agroprom Underground. I reached the location and everything seemed normal. The explosion while going up the ladder, and Doctor's monologue explaining what that marked one is, in fact, s.t.a.l.k.e.r, the player was hunting through the game. Suddenly, when Doctor's speech was over, marked one / s.t.a.l.k.e.r pulled out a grenade. He removed a safety pin and released this lever, which still holding a grenade in his hands. Just before it was supposed to explode, the screen went to black and the game crashed. I was confused about what happened, but at the same time, I had a hunch I was on the right track. I decided to try that part again. I assumed that the game crashed because it encountered some fatal error. Dealing with bugs and crashes, especially after modding the game, is just a part of Stalker. When I clicked the load game button, I noticed a new save file at the top of the list. It had no name. Instead of a map name, it just showed ... I decided to load this particular file, the most recent one. The loading screen lacked the location screenshot and said there was just X. When the map loaded, the character was standing in some straight dark corridor. It looked similar to underground laboratories from the game. I noticed I had no weapons, armor, or any other equipment. As there was no other way, I proceeded through the corridor. Suddenly, about 20 meters away, some figure crossed my way, disappearing in the wall. It was the ghost I had seen earlier. I rushed after the figure and found a door into a small, well-lit room. There were several documents inside, describing very disturbing stuff. I feel sick. They said it was just a fire, but I don't believe it. It must be something more. I saw my colleagues falling on the ground, dead. I was glad I survived, but at least they don't have to get through this. High fever, vomiting blood, diarrhea. They said I would feel better, but I know I'll die soon. Lena was so happy she would be a mother soon, but what happened to the baby? Half of the child's face is covered with a tumor-like thing. Papa said something bad happened and we have to go. He didn't say when we would be back. I saw other children leaving the town. I hope we'll be back soon. Gone are the homes, the gardens, and the playgrounds. Gone the souls who made their livings here. I recognize the last words. It was an extract from a song about Chernobyl disaster called Ghost Town. I exited the room and found myself in some huge underground location. Ghostly silhouettes of people of all ages and sexes were walking, talking to each other without making any sound. It looked like a peaceful town, albeit inhabited the shadows. Suddenly, an alarm siren was heard. Most of the ghosts started to run away. Others began to attack an invisible enemy. One of the silhouettes fell on the ground without any move. Others tried to escape, but it tripped. It got on the knees, holding its stomach, and it seemed he was vomiting. Finally, the room was empty. All the ghosts had either fled or were lying on the ground. The screen faded to black, and a text appeared stating, "Thank you for playing this great game, Stalker. Without the suffering of the dead, wounded, and deported, this series would never be created. Victims of Chernobyl disaster." That was the last time I ever played any Stalker game. Not because I'm afraid of some haunted game. I don't believe in all this paranormal stuff, and I'm pretty sure it was just a work of some sick modder. I was thinking of going back to the series several times, but I still have a strange feeling, as if I was dancing during somebody's funeral.